Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, good night, wherever you are in the world, because we've had some viewers from Australia before, which is kind of cool, and I like that. So I'll introduce myself to absolutely everyone across the world tuning in for this one tonight. I'm Alex Jones here at Portman Road, ahead of the Tuesday night clash, at least in UK time zone, between Ipswich Town and Watford. Ipswich Town get 3 wins on the bounce. They're really starting to build some momentum after a sticky patch, a patch which saw them after the Charlton game booed off to an extent. There was definitely the loudest booed that I think that we've seen under Kieran McKenna's tenure in that game. That was the last Tuesday night game here. Since then, Ipswich have hosted West Brom in a half-12 kickoff, beat them 1-0. Was not a classic, but Ipswich dug deep, got the late-ish winner through Jack Clark and got the job done to take 3 points from that game. And then followed that up with their first away win of the season. It took until November, but they got it done, went to QPR, who themselves have been hit and miss, but won that one 4-1 Ipswich Town. The early goal from George Hurst within the first 2 minutes of the game, then being paid back by Roman Burrell, and then the second half, which was really well played from Ipswich's perspective. That free kick early in the second half from Marcelino Nunez, George Hurst then getting a second with his well-placed header from Darnell Furlong's cross, and then Nunez a second free kick, this one deflecting off the wall and fizzing into the net. 4-1 Ipswich Town, and that builds some momentum coming into this game. Let's run through the team quickly that Kieran McKenna has picked, because Tuesday night games have been interesting, haven't they? With these team selection dilemmas that we've had, and how can you go about rotating, but also wanting to build consistency in a squad. You've got squad depth for a reason, but chopping and changing and making 9 changes for a midweek game is difficult, and it hasn't really worked for Ipswich so far. And what they've landed on for tonight is 3 changes. One of those is enforced. So Christian Walton keeps his place in goal. Darnell Furlong in the back as well, alongside captain Dar O'Shea and Cedric Kipray as well, who keeps his place over Jacob Greaves. And on the left side, we've got Ben Johnson. No Leif Davis, he's out with an injury. I don't think we expect that one to be too serious. I walked past Leif downstairs. He looks okay. He's not in a boot or in crutches or anything like that one. So the hope is that that's not going to be a serious one, but no place in the squad for him tonight. Ben Johnson with the opportunity. Then into midfield, Azor Matasiwa. When he's not been suspended, he's been in every single week so far. One of Ipswich's top performers this season. Partner Jensky Juster back in the team after a couple of games out. Came off the bench against West Brom. Don't think he actually got on the pitch against QPR over the weekend. Maybe I'm misremembering that, but we've got him back into the starting lineup there. Chuba Akpom plays in the 10 with Marcelino Nunez through the middle, and I think that'll be a controversial one, but you also do have to remember Nunez's record with fitness and injury issues, so giving him kind of a more spaced out run maybe makes sense. On the right, we've got another game for Sindre Valle Egli. God, I love saying that. My God, I'm excited to see him. I think he's great. Left flank, we've got Jaden Philogene. Maybe a bit of a surprise, given that Jack Clark has been so good and he'll be patient for his opportunities. But no Jack Clark in the starting lineup. He will be on the bench tonight for this one. Super sub again, we'll have to wait and see. And then it's George Hurst leading the line. Came off with an injury over the weekend against QPR, but fine start here. He told us that he would be fine. It was some weird cramp around his quad as well. We'd never felt it like that before, but he's okay, good to go again. And there we have it. That's your starting lineup. On the bench then: Button, Taylor, Young, McAteer, Greaves, Humphreys, even Azon returns from his injury, Marcelino Nunez and Jack Clark. That is the Ipswich Town team. I'll read it out from the start again. Walton, Kipray, Matasiwa, Egli, Hurst, Philogene, Juster, Johnson, Furlong, O'Shea and Akpom. That's in number order, just to annoy all of you. I'll do it in formation in a bit, and we'll talk about the Watford team. Let's take some questions and some comments. Let's have a little look. We've got Paulus Blue, who says, I'm nervous about this one, and I can understand that. We all have memories of the last game under the lights here and the way that went, and there are probably some similarities between the way that Watford will want to play and the way that QPR, the way that Charlton played. So it's understandable that there are kind of those concerns going into this one. It's going to be a 4-4-2 from Watford, and we'll run through that in a minute. But they come into this off the back of a 3-0 win against Middlesbrough over the weekend, which was highly impressive. By far the better team in that game, and it was not smash and grab or anything like that. It wasn't even like the Charlton one where Ipswich had that dominant spell and then conceded 3 goals, kind of 1, 2, 3, bang, bang, bang. This was a case of Watford being the better team against Middlesbrough start to finish. So yes, I can understand the concern from that perspective. We have a comment from Jamie. It says, hi AJ, hi all. Hello all, thank you for joining me. I hope you can hear me over the music. I hope the headphones are all right. Here we go, all from Skeevy. Evening, less changes than I expected, but more than I hoped there'll be. Shane Tales and Nunez were rested, but hopefully spared for the weekend. I think that's got to be part of it. He used as a big ticket item in a way, isn't he? Look, he's a big name. He comes in with incredible quality and a big reputation, and it hasn't worked out for him in the last few weeks, but you can't then disregard him, even though Taylor has been playing really well in his place. And this is the opportunity to make sure that he's kind of still fit, still ticking over, and still has the opportunity to prove he should be starting over Jack Taylor, as he'll be keen to prove tonight. From a Marcelino Nunez perspective, as I said, you've got to bear in mind that Norwich fans have antagonised Ipswich fans a lot about his injury record, and it's all dramatic and overplayed. Of course it is, but there's no smoke without fire, and if you look through that record, there are injury concerns in there. So you have to manage his minutes, you have to be careful. You can't play him Saturday, Tuesday, Saturday, week in, week out, or you're going to be risking him. And look, last time he came off the bench in that number 10 role, he was really good, wasn't he? So maybe still the same as that one. Hopefully Leaf's injury isn't too serious. Glad Azon is back. Yeah, I'm hoping that we can get an update on Leaf Davis tonight. Good to see even Azon back in the frame though. He's just that player that I really want to have on the bench, and knowing that George Hurst isn't probably going to be able to play the full 90, and I wouldn't want him to even if he was fit. There's nothing on him, but given how the Ipswich striker has to run themselves into the ground, I think it's good to be able to have that for Hurst and then be able to bring on even Azon, and have him back is so good. I heard more compact middle today against Watford, hence Kayusta over Taylor perhaps. And it's one of the concerns that I have a little bit with this team, and especially coming up against Imran Loser, is that the two midfielders in Ipswich's system, and it happens a lot more when you have Kayusta in the system. It's just natural with the kind of player that he is. But him and Matasiwa spread apart a lot, and it leaves a big gap through the middle. Now, Loser is the kind of player who in deep areas can just ping the ball. His creativity is passing from advanced areas, from deeper areas, all over the pitch in that kind of central part. Really good. And he's someone that they'll need to stay tight to. There's a Stuart Watson. Hello. Brilliant. Thank you, Stu. Yeah, having that is going to be really important. So making sure they're tight to him, making sure that that they don't allow him the space to dictate this game, because he is the kind of player that will do that. We'll take a couple more and have a look at the Watford team. David says, evening from Dublin. Good evening, David. Hope you're enjoying my coverage of this so far. He says, no creativity in the team tonight. And I think that's an interesting point when you look at it. Where is the creativity coming from? Well, you've got to look at the two fullbacks for starters. Furlong's not going to bomb forward. Yes, I know he got the assist over the weekend, but he's not a Leaf Davis, and nor is Ben Johnson on that other side. So that is going to be a concern. Kayusta will have a part to play in the creative side. Chuba Akpom isn't that kind of player, is he? Let's be honest, he's not a Marcelino Nunez. He's probably not even a Smodics in that kind of sense. He's going to be more of a second striker. And then you look at the side, and Sindra, I think, is going to have a lot of heavy lifting to do in a creative sense. Sindra Vala Egley, and I'm glad that he's managed to kind of get off and running and get that assist over the weekend. So I think he'll have some heavy lifting to do from that side. But look, there's good players in the team and on the bench. There is creativity there, but I can understand the concern. And we have seen this a little bit before in terms of the creativity, and perhaps having Nunez in the team is a little bit of an issue in that sense. So yeah, I do understand that. Should we have a little look at the Watford team there? Shall I show you? I haven't shown you a team sheet. Here you go. A nice Ipswich Town team sheet. The Watford team, so we've got 3 changes for Watford as I lift you up back onto my team sheet here. 3 changes for Watford. They are, as Stu has kindly tweeted, Abankwah in Ince in, and Semedo in. Out come Kevin, Rocco Vata, and Jungard. Yeah, I gave it a go. The Vata one is interesting. Rocco Vata, he's someone I'm really impressed with. Him and Loser are two of the players that I think have been kind of the standouts to me from when I've watched Watford. And Rocco Vata is one of those. He loves to cut in and shoot from range. Young, exciting Irish international. He used to play for Celtic. And it's just been announced tonight he's had a really nasty hamstring injury. He's going to be out for an extended period of time with that. But Watford stick with a 4-4-2. In comes Tom Ince, 33 years old. We think he's going to be playing on the left in that one. So their system, we think, will look like this. Selvik in goal, Ngakia at right back, Pollock, Abanqua and Bowler make up the rest of the back line. Two in midfield will be Loser and Kiprianu, consistent kind of players in that area. We're going to have Quadwo Bar on the right. He's kind of the electric, pacey right winger who's mainly played on that side and is the one who has the energy to get up and down a lot. Tom Ince, you should know all about Tom Ince on the left. Not his natural side of the two. I think he wants to be on the right more, but he has that versatility there. And then quite a young strike partnership. In fact, a very young strike partnership. Mamadou Doumbia, and I'm just going to quickly Google him because I know he's had quite an interesting background. Doumbia. He's only 20 years old, and they've signed him from abroad. They've ended up bringing him in. Let me get this right. From AS Black Stars, that's the recruitment levels there, and he looks really quite up to speed at championship level. He's a Mali international now. 8 appearances, 1 goal, 1 assist. We're back. Sorry. And he will be playing up front alongside Vivaldo Semedo, 6'4", according to the notes that I have in front of me. Left-footed striker, good player. Let's run through a few more comments. Kieran McKenna tinkering, why change a winning side? I understand this to an extent because you've just won. Why do you make the changes? This, I think, is a more balanced approach to it. So we have to make sure, let's make this good. Leif Davis is out injured. That's why he's not in the squad. If he was fit, he would start. So that's an enforced change, one of the 3. In terms of the other 2, I can kind of understand it from a perspective maybe with Taylor. Do you start him again, try and build up a bit more of what we've seen from him? Jens Kjuster in his last 2 starts hasn't been as impressive. He's looked a bit off the pace. But you have to give these players opportunities. There's a squad for a reason. And Marcelino Nunez, as I said, you've got the injury concern there, the fitness issues that we've seen highlighted from the spell at Norwich. So I can understand why he hasn't really been why he's been rested rather for this game, and why he hasn't been risked for it, just to give him the chance to come off the bench. And then at Swansea, I think there's a good chance we'll see him back into the starting lineup. Shane says a mistake bringing Kjuster in for Taylor. Yeah, again, I can see that, and it comes a lot from what I've seen from Kjuster from the last 2 games. It's weird how, given how he looked at the start of the campaign, smooth, silky young Kjuster, and in the Premier League, our perceptions, and I'm guilty of this as well, can be changed by 2 performances. Now, Borough, I thought he was poor. In that defeat to Charlton, I thought it almost bordered on, and I hate to say it, but it's just kind of the way he plays to an extent. It bordered on that kind of laziness that I didn't really like from him in that game. It feels harsh. It probably is harsh, but that's kind of what the performance reflected. Look, Jens Kjuster has a point to prove tonight. He's got to make sure that he's going to be the one who starts on Saturday at Swansea over Jack Taylor, who's put in some really good displays. You have to give these players opportunities. And this will be Kjuster's. If he comes into this team and this game and isn't up to speed and doesn't look right, then he's going to set himself back in terms of getting minutes. But if he can come in and can play well and can prove that he deserves to start these games week in, week out, then this is his opportunity to prove it. So I'm excited to see. Let's go through some more. A few cards this evening. I don't know what that means. I'm sorry, James. A few cards. Got my latte though. Might go cold soon. Feel for Taylor. I'll just put. Do we mean like a few cards in terms of bookings? Maybe I'm just too tired. It's just totally gone over my head. Why not? Because they didn't have any over the weekend, did they? So, yeah. makes sense. Feel for Taylor, doing enough to hold the spot. Team feels more solid with him in the middle, and it's a surprise, isn't it? Because maybe in the last championship season, when we saw Jack Taylor, it felt that him and Morsey was so much more kind of easy to break through, wasn't it? It was Morsey and Luongo, solid, reliable, know what you're going to get. And when Taylor came in, although it added maybe a little bit more intensity and energy from an attacking sense, it didn't feel as secure defensively. And maybe we're seeing a different side to Jack Taylor in terms of what he can offer. Look, he's a more mature player and a more developed player. He's played in the Premier League. He plays for the Republic of Ireland. So, yeah, I could kind of see where you're coming from that perspective. Look, it's still so early doors, isn't it, in terms of this? And yeah, I feel for him as well. But if Jens Guster doesn't deliver tonight, I think he'll be back in the team over the weekend. Would have played Akpom in the number 9, says David. Yeah, interesting this, because Chuba has not delivered in the number 10. I think it's fair to say, and harsh in a way because of how difficult it's been for him, that Chuba hasn't delivered in an Ipswich Town shirt yet. It is, again, early doors. He didn't have much of a pre-season at Ajax. Comes in and needs to try and find his feet a little bit in a new system, back in a new league that he hasn't played in since that Middlesbrough season. That was the season that Ipswich won promotion from League One into Championship, and I think for most people that feels like a lifetime ago, doesn't it? So that's the last time he played a campaign in the Championship, and it's totally different to the Eredivisie. I've covered a lot of players who've made that jump from Dutch football into the Championship, and it's not easy. It's a very different division, especially from an attacking perspective. So I can kind of sympathise with it in that sense, and I can understand that we're going to need to take a little bit of time for him. No creativity. Egley improves each week. I guess it's from the comment that was made about it. In the comments, I should say, I haven't said anything personally about the creativity, although I know why that perception comes across with the creativity in the team, especially when you take Nunez out and there's fewer natural playmakers in the team. The creativity comment is interesting. Can you rely on Cinderella Egley, aged 19, to deliver kind of as the main creative man, or really the only real creator in this team? Yes, I think is the answer, because we've seen it, but it is a lot of pressure on him to be able to create consistent chances for Ipswich's attackers, and that's something he's going to have to face up with. I'm really excited to see him again. He's improving every week, as you say, Adam. He looks so good. There will be games where he will look quieter. You look at the Borough game, for example. Borough came after Norwich. I thought he was really impressive, and Borough maybe didn't quite work out for him. He was marked out of that game. There will be games like that, but he's going to develop every single time we see him, and he's going to learn from all of these things. Hope I'm wrong, but don't agree with McKenna. 2 changes in midfield should be Taylor and Nunez. Yeah, again, understand it, but you want to keep Nunez fit. You need to do that. What does Jack Clark have to do to get a start? I wonder if Jack Clark's thinking that. And, we spoke to him about this after the West Brom game. And we spoke to him, look, you want to shake off that super sub tag. You want to be starting week in, week out. And he said, you know what, I've had worse tags. I'm up for that. And, yeah, it's good that he's got that mentality. And this is where maybe you look at don't change the winning formula. The winning formula has been Jaden Philogene starting games and him giving everything, and then bringing on a Jack Clark against tired legs, and he's so often proved to be the difference late on. And it hasn't been the case maybe for Jaden Philogene coming into games as well. If Jack Clark starts a game and he doesn't get the goal, then I feel that Jaden Philogene coming on doesn't have the same impact. It hasn't quite worked that well. Interesting one here from Big Al Ref. Would have picked Young instead of Johnson. Yeah, quite possibly. Young, we've seen play at left back. Johnson was the one who came on at QPR over the weekend. For Young as well, this is his club. He's, I believe he's born in Stevenage, came through the ranks at Watford, was linked with a return to Watford over the summer. Didn't work out that way. I think it's kind of put him that maybe Ipswich offered more money and a chance of a promotion on his CV that was going to be more likely than getting one at Watford this season. So he comes here, links up with Kieran McKenna, who he knows very well from Manchester United. But yeah, some clear links there. I'll take a couple more here. I'm going to go to this one because I don't want to talk much more about Taylor and Houston. We've covered that one. Graham says, Walton the weak link tonight. Interesting. I guess it comes after the issue at QPR where he made the save and it got parried. It is hard coming in as a goalkeeper when you've not played for such a long time. And you come back in and you've got to play week in, week out, and you've got to be sharp and you've got to be aware. And Walton has not played consistent football for a while, so I can understand that. And although I have my concerns based on that performance and based on some bits that we've seen, the one bit that I like that makes me think he's not the weak link is that he's a much more solid option when playing out from the back. I think I felt a lot less nervy with him doing it than Alex Palmer. I don't know whether it's Alex Palmer's body language or something like that. They've not been caught out that often playing out from the back, but I feel more secure watching Christian Walton do that. Interesting coming in from Philip. Come on, guys, I'm not an Ipswich fan, and I've got more confidence than you. Philip, who do you support? I want to know. But glad to feel the confidence coming through there. Great bench will have to make the difference. I'll run through the bench again. The options you can bring on here: Jack Taylor, Casey McAteer, Cam Humphreys. Be good to see him if possible. Even as on Marcelino Nunez, Jack Clark. It's good options, isn't it? So yes, that's a good point from Stuart. Kieran Atkin. Morning from Melbourne, mate. Good morning, Kieran. This is what I said at the start. Good morning, good evening, good night, good afternoon. So happy that we have you guys all over the world tuning in. 2-1 Town, Cinder off the mark. He is my first goal scorer pick. So as you've seen, I would have gone 1-1. I went 1-1 because I was going to go 2-1, but I had to catch Mark in our predictions league. So I've been brave and gone with a draw. It's probably brave in a stupid sense and a pessimistic sense. But yeah, 1-1 is my prediction on the record, even though I think it will be a 2-1 win. And I've got Sindra Eggley to score first. It was going to be Davis, but he's not in the squad, so I've been allowed to change. Sindra is my pick. I agree. Sindra Eggley to score first tonight. You know what? I think we're probably in a good position to wrap up soon. We're kicking off in just over 10 minutes rather. Thank you so much for your questions and for tuning in. We've done 23 minutes almost, so it'll be more than 23 by the time we're done. I'm going to run you through all of the team news again quickly. So the Ipswich team, we'll just do that. You can find the Watford team online. Ipswich team tonight, we're going to have Walton in goal, Furlong at right back, Ben Johnson at left back for the injured Lee Davis, who doesn't make the squad, Kit Bray and Captain O'Shea at the back. Matasiwa partners Jens Geuster in midfield. On the right is Cinderella Eggley, Chuba Akpom through the middle. Jack Clark. Oh my God, it's been a long day already. Jaden Philogene on the left, George Hurst leading the line. Bench tonight, David Button, Jack Taylor, Ashley Young, Casey McAteer, Jacob Reeves, Cam Humphreys, Even Azon, Marcelino Nunez, and Jack Clark. Strong bench. David Webb, the referee. There you have it. We're off and away in about 10 minutes. Thank you for joining me tonight. If you're not here at Portman Road or watching at home, follow our coverage. Stu's running the live blog. We'll have everything online tonight. Lots of exciting content. Upper Town, and we'll see you on the other side. Thank you for joining me.